Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ND Ice. I'm your host, David Chinka, alongside my co-host, once again, Lincoln Retzloff. In today's pod, we have a very special guest, West Fargo native and incoming UND junior transfer, Cameron Berg. But before we get into that interview, we have a few words from our sponsors. Duke Cannon, the playoffs are here. The playoff beards are ready to be unleashed. Don't trust your mutton chops and mustaches to just any brand. Duke Cannon Supply Co. makes a hardworking grooming products for hardworking guys, and their products will keep you and your facial hair in championship form. From their beard wash and balms to beard oil, they have your back and your face covered. Duke Cannon, work harder, smell better. Stock up on DukeCannon.com and use code BEARD10 for 10% off your next order. Duke Cannon is an official partner of the Minnesota Wild.
Showboys make life-changing underwear. What do these boxers and briefs do? Well, for starters, they're made out of bamboo, a fabric specifically designed to keep the boys cool when you need it most. You can feel the difference from the movement when you open the package. Feel the cooling sensation of the Chill Boys boxers briefs. Join the movement. Ditch those old-fashioned, low-tech underwear that will just keep you sitting in a swamp. Refresh your underwear drawer with the Chill Boys this summer. The Chill Boys will keep you comfortable when it counts. Don't take our word for it. Try some life-changing underwear for yourself. Visit chillboys.com to keep the boys cool this summer.
We have a new sponsor. It's a Minnesota brand and one of the fastest growing and most exciting clothing brands on the planet, Unreal. Unreal is an independent clothing brand crafted around the athlete. What that means is they're not owned by big conglomerates, they weren't spit out by the algorithm, and they aren't VC backed. Quite the contrary, as Unreal is a self-made company started by an entrepreneur with $300 and an idea. Unreal makes clothing for athletes. Unreal clothing is intelligently engineered to fit the body types of big, tall pros and everyday athletes alike. The perfect balance of professionalism and performance. You buy one Unreal item, and we promise it will quickly become the go-to garments you'll reach for every day, not just game day. Check out Unreal for yourself. Visit unro.co and use promo code PULLTAB15 for 15% off your next order. With that being said, we're going to hop right into that interview with Cameron Berg. We hope you guys enjoy. All right. At this point, I'd like to welcome on incoming UND junior transfer and West Fargo native, Cameron Berg. Welcome on.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
For sure, for sure. So you're from West Fargo. You moved away when you said in the sixth grade. So we'll get into you never played high school hockey in North Dakota, which was I don't know if you could say that unfortunate, but for us, it's a little unfortunate. But we'll hop into our ND icebreakers here. So we'll gauge the room. Everyone will kind of answer these first couple questions. But we'll start with the man of the hour, Cameron Berg. What's your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meal? I guess it's just kind of the base. I like just some noodles with some cheese and maybe like some potatoes and some chicken. And I
Nice,
like
nice.
I'm big into fruit too right now, so I try to get some mandarins in or some pineapple.
Love it. What you Lynx?
Yeah, I would have to agree with Cam on that. Just noodles, potatoes, anything like that's good. Something light, but enough that'll
Right.
won't get you sick, but it'll fill you up.
Yeah, for me, I was a rather small guy at first, so I was always pretty nervous going into games because I knew I was gonna get rocked maybe. So I didn't really like eating a whole lot before games. I maybe had like a granola bar or something light, just like you guys. But I mean, not as deep as noodles. But so this next one, we'll go to we'll have Links start with this one, and then we'll go to Cam. If you could see one musician slash singer perform live, and they can be alive or not, so this is like an all-time question. Who would you see? This is a good one. Like you can think about it for a sec.
Uh, I'd have to go with Kanye right now. I'd like to go to his one. I know he's kind of controversial, but
Yeah,
I know I love his music, so one of his concerts would be sick.
for sure. What about you, Cam?
Um, I think I want to go to like an AC/DC concert back in the day and see like a good like
In their
rock concert
prime?
was. Yeah, I think
That'd
that'd
be
be
That'd be
sick.
sick.
Yeah, I know. Like, along, I wouldn't say ACDC has gone downhill, but like Molly Crew, I liked a lot. Like, I still like him a lot, but Vince Neil is absolutely atrocious now singing. So definitely seeing him would be pretty cool. But I'd say, I don't know. I saw Posty last September. That was amazing. But If I had to pick someone outside the box here, maybe, oh, this might be a controversial pick. Michael Jackson, maybe. I
Oh
don't know.
wow.
Michael
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Jackson?
he'd be cool to see.
That would
Yeah,
be
he would be
sick.
cool. Um, this next one's a would you rather. So this one's like, okay, you guys gotta think out of the box here because we all know I'm gonna ask the question. Everyone's gonna be like, well, that's kind of a stupid question, but think about it. So the question is, would you rather win a national championship for Omaha, like their first national title, or would you rather win a national championship with UND, their ninth title? But I want you to think about more from the perspective of would you rather win a program's first title or would you rather win a program's ninth title? Like, because the first title would be way big legacy, you're an absolute legend. And then ninth would be you're still part of the legacy, but you're one of the nine that's done it. I'll start with Cam on this one because it's more centered towards you.
Ooh, I would. I mean, I'm gonna pick winning the ninth national championship with
Yeah.
Kodak just
The
because.
safe pick, safe pick.
Yeah, it's a safe pick, and just also being a North Dakota Grand for growing up, and now going to be a part of it and seeing when the 2016 team won it,
Oh yeah,
just how that was, and just to be really fun to be a part of, especially in that city of Grand Forks.
for sure. That'd be electric. What about you, Lynx?
Yep, easy pick. 9 for
God,
UND.
God damn it.
I've got to go
I was
with it.
hoping I was hoping someone would maybe I don't know.
I
Maybe
mean,
I'll go with
yeah,
the Bobcats. I mean, that was sick. Beating the Gophers
that
in
is
OT. I
sick.
was there. That was absolutely disgusting. Um, I mean, obviously I love UND and I would want to be a part of the ninth title if I could ever be a part of one, but I feel like still being part of like the first one at a program would still be pretty unreal. I mean, winning a national championship in general is unreal,
Yeah.
but so these next, we're gonna move on past our ND icebreakers. We'll go into some basic questions here for Cam, and then obviously we can jump in if we ever want to. But who who introduced you to hockey or like made you fall in love? Was it on your own or did someone specifically show you it?
I'd have to say my dad. I mean, I've been skating ever since like I can remember. I remember, well, he used to coach in like the West Fargo area, and he would take me out on right as I could walk and just be on the ice. So I guess this is kind of all I've known to do.
Right. Did you have like a specific hockey player that you liked growing up, or we'll do like in general, maybe the NHL, and then did you have? I mean, you were a UND fan. Did you have a UND player that you really liked a lot?
I'd say for NHL, definitely kind of a generic pick, just Sidney Crosby, because I was a
Hmm.
Penguins fan. My family was
Right.
growing up, so obviously just watching him was pretty cool. And then UND, I'd have to go like Jason Gregoire.
I think I
He's
remember
probably
hearing that on an article. Yeah,
yeah,
he was sick. He was sick. Yeah. I mean, obviously everyone people that do listen to this know that I like Jonathan Taser. He was my guy, but it was either a lot of people in our age group. It was like either someone from UND or Ovechkin or Crosby. There are a lot of people that I knew that liked Ovechkin because he's a flashy bad, because the bad boy
yeah.
of the NHL. Um, and then who are your favorite teams? I mean, you already said the Penguins, I guess, and then UND. So we can just skip that one. Uh, if you watched UND growing up, which obviously you did, is there a game that you specifically remember or one that stands out as your favorite to you?
Oh yeah, I would say back in like the old WCHA days, we went to the Final Five.
Oh yeah.
The Gophers at the XL. The Gophers are playing North Dakota,
Is it the
and
6-3 game?
it was a 6-3 game, and I was there,
Oh
and we were
yeah.
surrounded
Oh
by
yeah.
Gopher fans. Like it was 3-0. Every time they'd score, it'd be like a sea of gold, and they'd
Oh
do
yeah.
their little Minnesota chant or whatever. And then
Atrocious.
finally, it was weird. We made a joke out of it. My dad and my sister there with me. I finally said, okay, I'm gonna get some mini donuts. And as soon as I got mini donuts, they started scoring, and then it just turned
Hmm.
into a sea of red or
Oh
sea of
yeah.
green every time North Dakota scored. And then eventually, a lot of the Golden or Gophers fans ended up leaving, so it was just
Oh
green
yeah.
everywhere. So yeah,
The
that one was
collapse.
cool. Yeah,
I'm gonna call my dad here because I know my dad listens. I don't know if he's gonna get mad for this, but we we went to the game. I believe we used to go every year. We went 2010 and 2011 when they won. When they beat the Huskies in 2010 and when they beat Denver in overtime in 2011 with Fratton's goal. We were gonna go. We had tickets to the go that game, and my dad's like, Yeah, we got ticket. We're like driving in the car. And we're like, yeah, we got tickets, but we're not gonna be at the Gophers, so I don't
Uh,
really want to go all the way down there for that and see that. And then they ended up winning, and that was I remember watching that on TV. That was probably the one of the biggest, if not the biggest comeback in UND history. We had Mario Lamoureux on. That was great when you talked about that experience. But yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites for sure that I remember when I was a kid as well. Lincoln, I'll just kind of hop over to you. Is there a game that you remember a lot?
I think you just gotta. I don't really remember too much from the early 2010s, but I do remember when they won the Natty in 16.
Well, how
So
can you
easy
forget
pick for
that?
me.
Like, I mean,
You can't forget it.
I was
Easy
so
choice.
surreal too when they won that. I just I was so used to losing every year and being disappointed
Mhm.
because we would play. Oh, that was I didn't even know how to act when we won. It was really surreal. Everyone's flipping cars in Grand Forks, and we should have won. And oh, I want to do that so bad. Hopefully, maybe next year. Maybe next year. Hopefully, Cam, you won't be able to be there for that. But uh, what we'll move on to what kind of player would you describe yourself as? Like, I mean, example, playmaker, or a two-way forward, or a grinder. I know you're a big centerman, but
I'd say a two-way player. I like to chip in offense, but also try to be good on the defensive side as well.
yep.
So yeah, solid 200 player.
What would you say your strength is on the ice? Would you say you do well or excel at?
I'd say just kind of my speed and just shooting. I'm a big shooter. I like to shoot pucks. So
Awesome. Well, we'll go into more of your youth here. We'll go into more of a timeline sort of questioning. What was it like growing up in West Fargo and playing youth in North Dakota?
I mean, I guess it was good. I mean, that's all I really knew growing up. But it
Hmm.
was fun. Just there's kind of like a little like always like little rivalries going on just between like the mite teams or the squirt teams, depending
Oh
what
yeah.
team you were. So those games, even though I look back at it now, it probably wasn't that good, but at the time I thought it was pretty good and fun. But yeah, it was pretty good growing up. Obviously, played against some like pretty decent players to come out. Like I know I played against Kuntz a little bit. That Clevin, I'm pretty sure I ran into at
Hmm.
some point just to see some of the guys that have made it out.
For sure. Was there like a team specifically that you remember playing that you just didn't like playing back in youth? Like maybe Fargo or I don't, were they called the Jets, Grand Forks Jets back then? I don't remember.
I don't remember. All I know is we didn't like playing Fargo. Right? Because that's when they went to like the Fargo Freeze. I don't
Yeah.
remember what
Mhm.
they were before.
Yeah.
They were like only one team, but then they went to the Freeze and there was like five different teams. We didn't
Oh
really
yeah.
like
And it
any
was
of
just
them.
like color names too, just like orange
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It was weird for sure. So this is like more of an out of pocket question. And I don't know if you're gonna remember this, but my buddy brought it up to me. Uh, there was a game called where I don't know if it was where you were called this or it was called this, but it was the cam trick. You had like something like 9 goals in a squirt A game or something. Do you remember anything about that?
Oh, yeah. It's
Tell us
actually
about
funny.
that.
Somebody says my gamer tag for Xbox when I got it. It's Cam Trick.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
yeah,
Oh
so
my
we were
gosh.
playing. It was I think it was Mites or was it Squirts? Either Mites or Squirts, and we were playing like our rival, like other West Fargo team. And the final score was 11-11, but I had all the goals for us. And like, it was because they would score and then I would score. They would score, I would score. And then they got up to like 2 goals left. And I remember the refs asked like if it ties up, are we gonna go into overtime? And the other coach was like, yeah, of course we're going into overtime. Like we'll play it. And my dad was the coach and he's like, yeah, for sure. And so with like 30 seconds left, I ended up tying the game. And that was like my 11th goal. And the other coach was like, no, we'll just call it a tie. And some mom came up
Oh
and
my
we'll
gosh.
call that the cam trick now.
That's hilarious. I'm so glad that you remember that.
Yeah, Cam, you played you grew up kind of in West Fargo. Do you remember playing in the Vets Arena at all or the old
Oh
West
yeah.
Fargo rink we had? Yeah.
Yeah,
What are your kind of thoughts on that arena?
I mean, at the time when I was younger, I thought it was pretty cool. But I guess now
Hmm.
I've seen a lot of rinks and
Yeah.
it's nothing special.
Uh-huh.
But no, it was good when I was there. We'd go skating out there obviously a lot, or in the other rink too there. Yeah,
Sure, yeah.
What was your favorite rink in the FM area playing in as a kid?
ooh,
I mean, every
maybe
kid kind of dreamed of playing in the Shields on the big sheet,
the
but
Shield. Yeah, the Shields was cool. I didn't mind Moorhead's rink.
Moorhead's
Oh
is
when,
kind
yeah.
of nice. Yeah.
but it was, yeah, Moorheads when they had like they get some fans, just random people.
Mhm.
That was cool to play in.
For sure. What was the move you mentioned that you moved away from West Fargo to White Bear Lake around your sixth grade, like right before sixth grade, you said somewhere in there. What was it like moving from your hometown that you had grown up knowing to White Bear Lake at such a young age? And then was that like hockey related at all?
Yeah,
The move?
the reason we moved was my sister and I, who also played hockey. She just finished this year. Um, we went to a hockey school because we decided like we wanted to take this seriously, and we didn't think, or my parents thought that the best chance of us like going far was kind of had to go and leave and find a place to
Yeah,
get
leave
better.
West Fargo.
West Fargo to go somewhere else. So we did that. And what was the other thing you asked?
What was it like just leaving at such a young age and going to a new place?
Um, I mean, it was kind of tough at first. I mean, where I grew up in West Fargo, our neighbors, we were all like really good friends too. There wasn't a day in the summer where weren't out hanging out with each other. And so that was kind of hard to leave them. And then to come here where I knew no one. And even just like hockey, like, I don't know if you know a lot about Minnesota hockey, but like there's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of like politics or cliques too involved. So when I like tried out for White Bear Lake, it was like it was me and my parents by ourselves, and then all the other
Oh yeah.
parents were with each other at first. So that was kind of hard to adjust to that, but
I feel
we
like in
made some.
general, hockey's just really clicky, especially with all the parents and everything. Especially if people that move in, you know,
Mhm.
they don't carry on. Yeah, they're just not as welcoming or, it takes a little while to adjust. Continue though, sorry.
Yeah, I know, especially if like I'd say I was pretty decent player. So like I was, I mean, I took a roster spot on where I live, the White Bear Lake team from someone who's been on it before. I
Hmm.
don't think parents were really happy with that, but that's just how it goes sometimes.
What would you say that overall move did for your hockey career?
I think it got me to where I am today, and all the opportunities that I have was from that move.
Awesome. We'll hop more into your juniors. We talked a little bit about you being in Fargo and people that you remember playing with, Clevin and Kuntz or playing against, sorry. Um, you played in Muskegon. You also played in Omaha, I believe, the Omaha Lancers, but when you played with Muskegon, you played with also Fargo native and now your teammate Ben Strinden. What was that like playing with him or how has that affected you in transferring to UND?
It's been good. I've definitely been talking to him just about, or when it first came about, just asking questions. He's been talking to me, welcoming me into the team. But in Muskegon, yeah, I remember it was one of the first weeks, and he still had a cage on at the time. And it wasn't like we weren't doing like anything really hard at first. We were trying to get the rust off. And I'm going in a one-on-one battle, and he just kind of like gives it to me like a little bit from like behind or whatever. And I was like a returning player, and I had no idea. And I'm like, God, who is this kid? Like, and all the others, like, what is he thinking out here? What is he doing? But that's just who he is. After playing
Yeah.
with him, he's just he goes hard no matter what, gives 100%, which is really good characteristic to have. So yeah, but I've grown to be good friends with streams just from the Muskegon days, and now we'll be playing with each other again. So
Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. And it's obviously makes the move a bit easier if you already know people on the team, like Kuntz as well.
yep.
Um, what was your experience like in Muskegon? Like, what did you like? Do you have any favorite memories or any parts about playing there?
I just think one of my favorite part, we had such a like a good group of guys where we all got along. Like usually sometimes in teams, especially in juniors, you have like your older guys, your younger guys, and it's kind of like divided. But I felt like we were all one. And so we just had a lot of like good times together, whether it was just at the rink or like I don't know if you ever been to Muskegon, but like they got the lake right there, the Lake Michigan. I think that's the big one.
Okay,
So when it was nice out, we'd go there on the beach and hang out, play like spike ball or something. But yeah, we were just all really like a good close knit group, so
for
that was
sure.
fun.
When did you really start getting scouted by, college teams or even NHL teams?
College, I think it was my ninth grade year is when I think I first started getting looks at teams. And that's when I still was here in Minnesota, again
Hmm.
playing White Bear Lake Bantams. And then NHL, I think, came probably like a couple years later. Probably like my junior year, started getting like some interest, or just not like they're not talking to you, but you hear things.
Yeah,
And then
your
definitely like
people
my
are in the
yeah,
stands. Yeah, that was in Muskegon too when you're playing there, or
yep,
when you're playing Omaha. Okay, cool,
a little bit of Omaha too. That's when it started.
awesome. You had so I looked around. You had and obviously you see you in a USA uniform and some pictures. You've had the opportunity to wear a USA jersey before. Was that the USA Selects or what was that about? And then what was that experience like for you, and what did that mean to you?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was the World Junior Showcase camp.
Okay, okay, cool.
To try to make the team for World Juniors. I mean, I wasn't really expecting to get the call. So when I got it, the call to say I was invited, I was just like, I was just going, not expecting much, just to play. Obviously, I didn't make it, which was I didn't expect to make it. There's tons of good players there, but I was just happy I got to be there and play with some pretty good guys. Like I think my first game, I was playing with Cooley, so that was pretty
Oh,
cool. Now
shit.
look at him now, how nasty he's doing. Great player. So it was cool to say that, or just other people like Luke Hughes were on the same team for the showcase, or like all these guys
Sick.
were there. So it was cool just to be a part of that.
That's awesome. We'll hop more into as we go further down the line. We'll go into your college career now at Omaha. You talked a little bit about being recruited by college schools, and obviously you committed to Omaha. What was your recruitment process like at Omaha? And then what other programs were you talking to, and did you go on visits to?
Um, well, Omaha was the first team to reach out to me, and I committed pretty quick. I think a month after, so I didn't really get much. They just saw me. I was at like the Lancers like camp or something. I remember
Right.
they came and they wanted me to come visit them, and so I came visited them. It was pretty cool. They had obviously they have a really good rink and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, so I really had CC was the other team to offer me that I visit, and Ohio State at the time, and then but I
Sick.
committed pretty much right away to Omaha, so I didn't really get recruited that much.
How old were you in recruited? Because I remember the rules changed a couple years ago where you could get recruited. I mean, Tyler Clevin like committed to UND when he was like a freshman, or
Yeah,
maybe in eighth grade.
I think I was 15, 14 or 15. I think
Oh,
14, 15.
jeez. Yeah, I mean that was obviously pretty convenient for them because you played for, I mean, Omaha AAA, and you played for Omaha the Lancers as well. But hold on, I kind of want to jump back there because not a lot of people play juniors for multiple teams. What was the like? I'm not as super familiar with how it all works, but what was it like being traded, or how did that whole deal work when you left the Omaha Lancers and went to Muskegon?
It was actually obviously I think it was pretty good for my career so far getting traded, but it was definitely something new. Obviously, because I've been in Omaha area for like 2 years, 2.5 years prior to getting traded, so I kind of got pretty used to being in Omaha. When I got traded, it was more of just kind of like felt like just like a fresh start. If that makes sense. Like
Oh yeah,
you get like a new jump or like a new excitement to go out and play, and I think
oh yeah,
took advantage of that.
yeah. Changing scenes are exciting, and any new change is exciting. So for sure. So when we'll hop back into Omaha now. Who, if anyone, did anyone play a mentorship role for you when you hopped into Omaha? Like, is there a guy that stands out to you, or teammate, or couple
College
maybe?
or like college Omaha or
Yeah, college Omaha.
mentor. I would say, ooh, there's. I think there's like a group of guys. I'd say Kevin Conley for sure, who was the captain for my freshman year. I had Nolan Sullivan, who's the captain now. I think they
Yep.
just kind of they really made sure like to take all of us freshmen kind of under their wings and like not leave any one of us out. And then they showed us what it takes to compete in this conference and what it takes to be a college player every day and how you have to take care of your body, what you eat, how you practice on the ice, and all of that. So
For sure. Did you have a best friend on the team? I don't want you to have to call someone out and make someone else feel like, oh, I wasn't your best friend, but or did you just who did you hang out with a lot, or is there a guy that you spent a lot of time with more than others?
I mean, I had a lot of good friendships that I made, but I'd say Davis Pennington, who's now going to QPAC, just because we were roommates
Right.
and we played at Muskegon together the year before, so we kind of got to build a good friendship. So it was probably him who I hung out the most.
Awesome. That one's pretty natural for you then. How does being an athlete at UNO compare to being an athlete at UND? Because I know obviously UND is a hockey school, and I'm more involved in other UND sports as well, so I see a big side of that. But I mean, I assume hockey's a sport at UNO, but I know they're in the Summit League as well. So this is kind of a loaded question, but is hockey like do you have to go to certain other athletic teams events too? Because I know some teams at UND have to go to certain other events, a certain amount to support their other student athletes. And then did you go to certain sports team games or like did you have friends on other teams at Omaha?
I mean, I definitely Omaha hockey's probably the biggest sport there for sure. We were never required to go to the other students' games at all, but I know we'd go to a couple. I'd go to the volleyball team was pretty good at Omaha, so we'd go out to
Hmm.
some volleyball games every once in a while, and then I've been to like two basketball games. But just being when it gets in like season, like it's hard to kind of go and watch. It's just because you're working too so much, so sometimes you're tired, and then you got school or you're traveling, so sometimes it gets hard to go watch them. But we
Oh yeah.
definitely make friends with other athletes for sure.
Cam, how would you kind of the different there's not a huge but kind of a difference between UND and Omaha. How would you kind of describe the cultural differences between the two hockey programs?
Um, I would just say just kind of how almost crazy. I don't know if craziness is the right word, but I think like Omaha they love hockey. Like we had such great fans and stuff, but it's almost like a different environment when you go to like when you play at North Dakota.
Oh
It's
yeah.
more like
Yeah, it's like
wow,
religious.
crazy. Like this is like if you're in like
The
Williston,
pinnacle.
you're driving however far it is to Grand Forks just for a Friday night game. Where in Omaha, it's like you're in the Omaha area, you're going to the game. If you're not all the way in like Kearney, you're probably not coming. So I just say
Yeah.
it's more, yeah, more religious in North Dakota, even though Omaha had such great fans still, but it's just a little bit different.
How can you explain I mean, so you had a really successful freshman year and sophomore year. More than, people jump in and some guys don't find their step right away or it takes a little while. Is there any way you can explain your immediate success and your continued success at UNL your first 2 years?
Um, I would just say I think it started with juniors, going back for my third year. I think that really helped me just gain confidence and coming in and feeling good about myself. And then obviously just stepped in. I got the opportunities right away, so I had to take advantage of it, which I think I did. And I played with some pretty good players too that helped to make the transition easy.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I just kind of went out and tried to just do what got me this far and just try to play like the right way. Not don't force anything, and yeah, just kind of just play hard.
So right out of the gate, were you at first, were you like, okay, this is kind of scary, or like, were you immediately like, okay, I can hang with these guys. Like, I know what I can do. I'm comfortable at this level. What was it like for you right away?
Um, I say it depends because my first game it was out of conference, and I think we played Lake State. It was my first game, and it was like a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. Like I can handle this. And then I remember our first in conference game, and that was against St. Cloud, I think, in St. Cloud on that Olympic
Oh
sheet.
shoot.
They're a fast team, and I'm like, holy crap, this is really fast. But I adjusted. I think I adjusted pretty well.
Oh
Didn't
yeah.
take that long to adjust, but yeah, I noticed it a little bit, especially when we went to the NCHC to play our conference teams.
Yeah, I mean, I know me for sure, and my other friends everyone that I grew up with in West Fargo, or I knew in West Fargo, who knew you, we would, we talk about you, and then you obviously had a lot of success, which was great to see, and we were kind of like, shit, Cam should come here, and then when you did, it was pretty sick. But did you? Can you just so? I tried looking on the stats. They don't NCHC doesn't really have a stat book for face-off percentage, but I remember seeing that you were pretty good at faceoffs. I did the math. Your faceoff percentages last year was 52.77%, which is pretty good. Can you describe like what the key behind your success in the dot has been? I mean, you don't necessarily have taken as many faceoffs as people like Hunter McCown, who takes like over 1,000. But what would you say your key to success has been in the dot?
Well, usually during the year, I wasn't really a center at all. I played wing until probably the last like 2 weekends. I would just take draws on power plays for the most part.
Yeah.
But just going on, I just think if it's a one-on-one battle, at the end of the day, it's just me versus the other guy, and I'm just going in. I got to be hard on the puck and use my body.
When you go into that dot and you're talking to like who calls the play? Do you call the play like where you're gonna win it, who you're gonna win it back to, or what move you're gonna do, or is that like more of a coaching thing, or does the coach trust you? And then how do you communicate that with your teammates?
I guess it just depends on the situation. I know I'll call it sometimes, like when it was 5-on-5, I would call the plays, but on power play, we would have like five different plays we could do, and like we'd all say, "Oh, which one do we want to do?" So that'd be more like a community one. And then sometimes if the coach is seeing something, they'll say, "Hey, run this." But yeah, so it just depends. We all kind of pick our own or pick a draw eventually.
So you go into it knowing what you're gonna do. You don't just
Yeah.
like look at the guy and like read him a little bit and then oh shit, maybe I should switch it up. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense
you always got a play going before you even enter the dot.
for sure. What was your favorite part about playing for the Mavericks?
Ooh, I
Kind of
just
a loaded question, but
I there's probably a couple things I loved. Just the boys. I really like. I had a lot of good friends on the team. I still am friends with the guys for sure. But I'd say them probably made it the most fun. Just getting to be at the rink with them every day. And still, it was a fun place to play. Like Baxter Arena was like really nice to
oh
play at.
yeah,
And last year, Mike West, I want to say his name was like in charge of like the attendance. So he did a really good job of getting
yeah.
people to the games. So yeah, I think that was just some things I'll miss for sure.
Yeah, me and Lynx made it out for the. I had never been to Omaha previously until this season, and we went to. I will say the perspective from watching it on NCHC TV is just abysmal compared to the in person. It just does
It's
not
terrible.
compare.
Yeah.
Because they play what they play on the screen, and you don't really see what's going on, and it's just like, what the heck is this? And
The
the production
the
is just
third
not that
period,
great.
yeah,
But yeah,
the
the
third
third
period
period
entrance
intro is
video that was sick.
disgusting. That is just like that's
Yeah,
maybe one of the
that is,
sickest
yeah.
intro videos I've ever
I forget
seen.
about that. I don't ever get to see that because I'm in the tunnel. But
Yeah. No, it is sick. Like
That is
at
cool.
first when you see it like on TV, you're like, oh, this is kind of cringe. But when you're there, I'm like,
yeah,
this is electric. Like I recorded it on my phone so I could if I needed to watch it again or show somebody because it was that sick.
yeah, it's cool.
Like
Yeah,
and just being there, I will say Omaha is when we went to Baxter, I thought Baxter Arena was probably I mean, it's definitely the second best rink in the NCHC. But I didn't know that, until I went there. It was just a sick experience. They got a great rink there. So yeah, UNO is definitely doing something right with that. And they use that for a lot of different stuff like basketball and do they use it for volleyball too?
volleyball plays there.
Okay, cool. Dang, I don't know how they managed to
Yeah.
that's kind of sick that they managed to do that, the transition and stuff. Did you know after this season that you were gonna leave UNO or like how did you kind of figure that out in your head, or were there any reasons that stood out to you for moving on from Omaha?
Um, I didn't really know until the season was over. I just what I thought was going to be best for me. My family and I and my advisor just talked about it. So we just thought it was best for me to go or leave and go somewhere else.
In your mind, did you have a team already locked up where you're just like, I'm going to play the portal? Was that your mindset going into it?
No, I knew I wanted to stay in the NCHC for sure. I
Okay.
didn't know exactly what team or where. So yeah.
Did you have one like besides UND? Was there one that you were seriously considering or that you thought maybe you were going to end up going to besides UND?
I like Western. I thought Western
Oh
was
yeah.
I like Western a lot.
Yeah, they have a sick atmosphere. I mean, their program's going to come up as well. I mean, Omaha had a great season too. So it's really great to see all those different teams that were necessarily at the bottom of the NCHC a couple years ago are now, at the top of it almost. Um, what was your yeah, what was UND your target landing spot when you entered the transfer portal?
Um,
Obviously, it's a dream, but
yeah, I
did you
mean,
know?
I don't know if I knew. I don't think you really kind of know anything. Sometimes you're rolling the dice, seeing what happens.
Right.
Yeah, I knew when they reached out that there was going to be a good chance going there. Well, nothing was 100%, but I knew there was a good chance.
I gotta say, me and my buddies, when we saw it on Twitter that you entered the transfer, we're like, dude, Cam's coming here. Like he's locked in. We're like we kind of knew you were coming here. There were a couple guys that we kind of were hoping, or I was hoping were going to come, and you were definitely one of them because you just had such great 2 seasons, and you're a good center that would be a great addition to the center core. Which I don't know. When I watched UND this year, I went with me and Lincoln, obviously, or either at or watched every game. It didn't seem like UND won a lot of faceoffs, but the numbers say otherwise. And I just think, I mean, you're a steal. I mean, from not to get fanboy right now, but like I think it's hilarious that not only we play UNO at home the final weekend of the regular season. I think we swept. Did we sweep you guys that weekend? Do you
Yeah.
remember?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then yeah, we go to UNO and we lose the first game. It was close. And then we single-handedly ended their season, and then we just took their best young player. I thought that was kind of hilarious. I'm like, dude, if I'm a UNO fan, I hate UND right now. But what was it like leaving UNO? What did you say to your coaches and your teammates?
Well, I had a pretty good relationship with the assistant coach there, Bernie. We called him
Hmm.
Bernie. I just sat down, had like a 20, 30 minute conversation, just kind of explaining everything. And so that went pretty well. Then just kind of told him like what was going on and why I was leaving. And then same thing with the head coach, kind of told him I was leaving. And obviously they're kind of like disappointed, which I get. Like
Hmm.
they gave me tons of opportunity. I played a lot, obviously. I was an important player. So I understand their kind of frustrations with me. I get it. But then it was again hard to tell like a lot of the guys that I was leaving for sure, just because I've been with some of them for the past 2 years. So that was kind of hard. But I just told them like it was nothing. Nothing was personal. It's pretty much what it
Hmm.
is. Like at the end of the day, like it's kind of like a business. And you kind of got to do what's best for you and what you think you're gonna
Exactly.
get to your end goal. And so we felt like that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure all players understand that. I mean, they got to do what's best for themselves. So, but as we continue or we start exiting the Omaha questions, what we'll finish with this one. What will you miss most about playing at Omaha?
Ooh, kind of the environment, I'd say. Too. I just again the fans were so nice to me, and just again we had such a great facility to play in, and just how we were treated was really nice too. So I'll miss a lot about Omaha for sure, but yeah, it's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you got to say goodbye.
Yeah. Was there like anything specifically that Omaha did in their hockey program that you thought stood out or like they did better than other programs or most programs?
Um, I think just all being one, if that makes sense at all. Like whether you were a top guy or whatever, you're all like together, if that
Right.
made sense.
Okay. Yeah.
You're just
You're all in
one.
it together. You're
You're
all
all in
one
it
team.
together. Like no one's
Yeah.
like higher than the team at all.
Right. So we'll hop as we exit the Omaha questions, we'll hop into some more questions that people are probably looking more forward to, which is North Dakota questions. What was your recruitment process like for UND? Or you said you got a phone call or that they were interested, but can you go more into detail about that?
Yeah, well, I entered the portal and they obviously reached out and we
How
just
quick?
the day, like
Oh,
in like
nice.
the hour, like
That's got to be a good feeling.
yeah. And we just talked about or they talked about how like kind of they wanted me where they see me at in their lineup and obviously some of their selling points of why to come there. And so I said, okay, yeah. And then I think 2 days later they flew me up to go visit. And the next day I committed to them, I guess, or signed.
Hmm. Who
Yeah, it was
called
good. It was
you?
pretty, Bradbury.
Oh, sick. Okay. Bubs called you.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Um, nice. Okay, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, that's all I had to add.
Yeah. So the numbers came out yesterday. I mean, okay, so this is a little confusing. I was looking at your numbers and you were 14 at first at Omaha, then you switched to 17, And now you're going to Fort. Like, can you describe that a little bit? Like, what were you like? Did you were 14 at first at Omaha, and then you were 17 first. We'll do that one first.
Um, well, so I've been 17. I'd say that's like my
Yeah.
go-to hockey number. I've been 17 for probably, obviously, besides the Omaha, my freshman year, I've been 17 pretty much all my career, I want to say.
Hmm.
Besides one time, we're triple A, I wore 14. And so that's why when I came in for freshman year, they had Taylor Ward there who's 17.
Right.
So I just said I'll wear 14. And then when he left, I'm like, oh, well, I kind of want 17 back. And so I switched to 17 and then obviously transferring here. Gaber's wearing 17. So now I'm
Right.
going to 14. So yeah.
So like, obviously we love Gaber. Don't want him to leave. But if he when he does, or if he were to leave, do you think you're gonna hop on that 17, or are you gonna stick with 14?
Probably
It's a
not.
little too early, but
Yeah, I think I've changed my number too many times in college. I just 14 now.
awesome. Do you know what your living situation is gonna be like in Grand Forks next year yet, or are you still figuring it
Uh,
out?
yeah, I'm living with some three other transfers, Johannes,
Right,
uh,
Hunter. He's
Rich,
really cool.
and Pearson, the
Pearson
forward.
and who was the other one you said?
Britt, the new date.
Okay, Logan. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Sick. So you said Johannes, Hunter, Logan Britton, Keaton Pearson.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So like,
Yeah.
do you guys have a group chat yet, or like you guys getting a buy level, or what's that like?
We're just kind of getting an apartment for us four. Yeah, we got our own little text group chat, just trying to figure everything out. You know, it's kind of a big change for all four of us, so we're trying to figure it all out.
How did that kind of assemble and come to fruition? How did you know who to live with, or how'd that
Gabe,
happen?
a couple of the guys, Gabe obviously kind of led the charge on who we think we'd be good living with, and then I guess I would give a lot of credits to Hunter. He kind of put this all together. He kind of did all the digging and a lot of the hard work to find a good place for us. So
Yeah, I've from what I've seen, Hunter is like a big take initiative guy. He's doing his hockey camp this summer too. And I just saw on Twitter that they threw these doors was at his lake or something, and he was hosting them, so that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
besides all
so
the or
yeah,
go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Dave.
Lakes. No, I
All right.
was
All right.
yeah.
Besides all the transfer boys, have you like really talked to any of the guys that were already on the team? Besides, you said Gaber kind of
um,
organized some stuff, but
when I was there visiting, obviously I got to meet quite a few of them, kind of talk to them. And old Schmaltz texted me like a week ago, just checking in on things. But that's other than that, I haven't had really in-depth conversations with a lot of them yet. I mean, I talk to Stringent here and there every other day, pretty much. That's probably pretty much it for the most part.
Nice. Amongst the team, I mean, if you guys haven't had the opportunity to talk with them a whole lot or spend a whole lot of time because you guys haven't had summer camp yet, but amongst the team, is there a goal you guys have right now for next season, or where do you personally see potentially this next season going?
Oh, well, I think your goal is to win the Penrose for sure. I think
Hmm.
that's just on any team that's your goal to win your conference, win that trophy, and then I think make it to the dance. I'd say just punch, get a ticket there, and see what happens.
For sure, for sure. That's a great goal. What's the largest personal goal you have for next season, if you have one? Yeah. Is there a
Um,
certain milestone you want to hit or something?
Not really. I just want to be. I think my main goal is just be consistent. No numbers or anything. I just want to go out and play the same way every night.
Nice. That's a good goal to have actually, because numbers are not always they come and go, and you can get frustrated, especially if you don't reach them. So it's hard to see how your season's going to go. But what does it mean for you to get to play for North Dakota? Because you mentioned you're a big UND fan.
I mean, honestly, it's an honor to go play for them. I mean, as a little kid, obviously, so I wanted to or dreamed of playing for them. See all the guys that I looked up to, the Frattons, the Christos,
Hmm.
Quagwire, all those guys now finally get to be, part of that group, part of the culture. It's just going to be really cool to just kind of get there and again, just be a part of it.
Yeah, contribute to the history and everything. What excites you most about playing in ODAC?
Mm.
Kind of just touched on it a little bit, but
Yeah, I'd say I'm just excited just to be on the other side and get cheered for and not against,
oh
I guess.
yeah,
Just get to again just be a part of it and like experience that for myself now as I was a kid in the stands and now I'm gonna be on the bench experiencing it.
oh yeah. What did it mean to you to be drafted in the NHL, and what was that moment like for you?
That was a pretty cool moment. Definitely kind of like a sign that, what I was doing was right. Obviously, I still got tons to work for to get there, but it felt good, obviously, just getting drafted obviously with the Islanders, such a great organization. And I know that's kind of in the back, I guess, of the head right now. Obviously, everything I'm doing is working to get there. But yeah, it's just good honor to be a part of. Not a lot of guys or get to say they've been drafted, so it's just kind of a cool thing to have.
Was there a certain team, I mean, maybe Pittsburgh, but was there a certain team that you wanted to get drafted by, or were you just excited to get picked by any team?
I was just excited to get picked by any.
Were you rather excited that it was the Islanders and maybe Brock Nelson's on there and, maybe get a chance to play with him one day?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Or Parise. I don't know what he's doing, but I know there's a
Hmm.
couple of guys that have gone there. So it'd be kind of cool. Hopefully one day I get to play with them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Brock was electric. I mean, especially in that 6-3 game, he had the tying goal. I think he just went off it
Yeah.
was right off the draw and he bounced it off his chest and settled it down and just went top, roofed it. It was sick. But will you be attending the camp for the Islanders this summer? Do you have any plans to go out there?
Um, I don't know if they have a. They're one of the teams that I'm unsure if they're having a camp or not at this moment. So I don't know
Oh, really?
if they are. I will probably go, but if they aren't, obviously I'll just be at school.
For sure. Well, do you know when you're going to be going to UND or like, okay, so hold on. I'm going to ask this from different perspectives. So when you go to UND, are you going to, so I know other guys are going. So Dylan James, for example, he's going to Detroit and then he's going home and then he's going to Grand Forks and then he's probably going to go home before school starts. What's your plan kind of this summer to go to
Oh, well, I
UND?
think the first day of the summer stuff is like the 10th, I believe. So I'll probably get there, which is a Monday. So I'll probably get there that week and like a Friday, get settled in, and then I think we're there for 5 weeks maybe. You get like a week off, and then school starts. So I'll probably come back for the week that we get off, and I'm down there for the rest of the season.
Do you already know what classes you have? Do you already have your classes all scheduled and picked out already? You enrolled?
Um, yeah, I have a couple. I think I'm enrolled. I haven't honestly paid attention too much into that. I probably
Yeah,
should.
I don't worry about it over the summer either. I register and I put the whole backpack away
Yep.
until
Yep.
late August comes around. But cool. So are you going to be living in that apartment? Actually, where do you know what apartment building you're living in? I don't know if you want
I
to drop that.
honestly
People
do not.
might be stalking your place. I don't know.
I honestly don't, to be honest. Again, I just said yes to everything to what Hunter was saying. I just agreed with him, so he
Right.
kind of took charge.
I wonder if it's the building because I know a lot of athletes usually live at the building. That's a usually nice place and it's relatively close, relatively easy walk to campus. But we'll hop into our ND Ice fan questions here. We got two questions. This one's kind of a long one, so you'll have to let me read it here. Um, it seems this is from Colin Mildenberger. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Sorry about that. It seems as if Omaha is starting to build something. They had a good season last year, including an involved fan involvement, had several sellout crowds. Are you going to miss being a part of this potential rebirth of the Mavericks?
Yeah, I guess in some way I'm gonna miss it. Obviously, what they're doing, they're definitely on the up. They have a really good team.
Hmm.
They obviously have great fans, so they're
I
gonna
mean,
be a
they're
good.
losing you, so that's disappointing, but
Yeah, but they have a couple like good kids coming in that I know of.
mhm.
They're gonna be a good team for sure, and they're definitely still gonna be on the rise. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I miss it maybe a little bit, but I think once I get started in North Dakota, it's not really
There's
gonna.
no looking back. Like you're at
No,
UND,
look
like
bad. I made my bed. Now I gotta lie in it no matter what.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So this next one's from Dan O'Malley. He wanted to know what's your favorite Omaha AAA moment of all time?
Oh, Dan. I'd say it was a tournament in Chicago. I don't know if it was the Chi-Town Shuffle or whatever. And like we weren't that good, I'll be honest, as a AAA team. Like we were usually the underdogs in most of the games, but we ended up making it to the championship. We didn't win, but we played like a lot of good teams. We won like 3 games or 2 games in overtime back to back
Hmm.
against like some pretty good teams, like maybe like Mission or like Honey Baked was there.
Oh
And then
shit.
at like the at the hotel too, we had a lot of like good bonding time and just kind of fun stuff as young kids. So I think that was probably my favorite AAA moment.
Oh yeah, tournaments were always fun. I remember playing like knee hockey in the hallways and
Oh
upsetting
yeah.
everyone. And oh yeah. So we'll hop into our lightning round here. So we're just gonna roll with it. So what was your favorite game that you ever played in, or is there one that stands out to you?
Favorite game that I've ever played in. Ooh. I It's gonna be weird, but I think I have to go my freshman year when we were in North Dakota and we won it in overtime. And obviously, like Omaha, they don't like North Dakota. Like I don't think a lot
Right.
of people like Dakota. And so obviously,
Was
I'm an
that
Omaha. I'm an
was that
Omaha guy.
senior night? Was it the senior night where you guys spoiled it for some
It might
guys?
it might have been. It might have been. All I know is I remember McManus, who was on the team from
Yeah.
Minnesota, ended up going like upstairs on him, and we're walking out, and everyone's just like, we're all hooting, hollering. We were walking right by the
Oh yeah.
students on the way out, and they're just giving it to us. And I remember I was standing by Johnny Tyconic.
hmm
They're just like,
Oh
boom,
yeah.
and he's looking at him, just smiling, laughing. So I mean, kind of bittersweet now because I'm on the other side of it. But when I was in Omaha, I was a big Omaha
Oh
guy.
no, I bet that would have been hilarious. I would have laughed too.
North Dakota. But yeah, that game was really fun. And then in the locker room after, I remember there was a big, like, a lot of excitement too.
Yeah, so like I guess we never even asked about that. What was it like playing for Giant Iconic? Like in the locker room, what was he like before UND games? Is there anything specific? Like, did he act any different or prepare any different or did he seem more nervous or anxious at all?
Um, no, I think he had more of like a get up. I think in any
He had
player
something
when
to prove. Yeah.
when they play a former team, I'll probably have that too. Next year, I'm going to be kind of more dialed or just already have it circled on my calendar when we're playing them. Just because you left them. There's like
hmm
fans don't like you. Maybe your teammates are a little sour. So yeah, it's just
Speak.
more. You get more of like a killer instinct, maybe.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, like on our Twitter, when I asked the fan questions, this Omaha lady like added it and had like this weird gif or it was like a disgusting face, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, you're just mad that he's gone." Anyway, I wanted to add him, but I don't know. I didn't want to cause any problems. Did
Oh
you have a
yeah, there's been
sorry,
a,
continue.
definitely a couple of things. Omaha fans, some of them are like understand, and some of us there aren't gonna
Oh, it's
be
same way, both
be a
ways. If you
fan.
leave UND, people are gonna be pissed.
Which I get. I get it. At the end of the day, like they cheer for the team, so I understand it.
Yeah. With all the guys leaving UND this year, there was a lot of slander out there for sure. Was there a favorite goal that you scored that stands out to you?
Ooh, favorite goal. Um, Probably just my first, and for college, I'd say just I think it was against Maine, my third game in. Just come down, just shot it, and just kind of like, oh wow, like didn't
What
take
sally
it.
did you do?
I mean, I didn't really have a celly. I love to celly. Like, I love a good celly,
What's your
but I
favorite
didn't.
sally?
I'd say like it depends. It's big situational, but I'd say like a bow and arrow. Like, if it's like a 1T
Oh
goal,
yeah.
like a bow and arrow or something, I think that one's the best.
I could never think about what I like. I'd be like, oh, I'm definitely gonna do this Sally. And then when I scored, I'd be like, I would not remember what I wanted to do. And I just do something random, but
Yeah, it's like a burst of energy you get.
for sure. Do you have a toughest loss in mind?
Ooh, proud to say this year, at the game 3 when we lost to North Dakota, just because I don't think Omaha's ever made it to the frozen face off.
Nope.
Was
Nope.
it the frozen face off?
Yep, they
Yeah.
did never made it yet. I was so
We won game 1, and I remember we're like, okay, we got this, and we lost game 2. We're like, it's fine. And then we were up 2-1 game 3, and like, oh my God, like this could be it. We could actually send it. And then they ended up scoring with like 5 minutes left in the third to take the
yeah,
lead. Just took punch to the gut.
for sure. And then I remember this is kind of a funny story. So we went to the Frozen Face Off. And there's this guy, there's Omaha fan. Omaha has a lot of good fans. They're just funny. This guy was just trying to be funny, but he was like, yeah, if you guys ever want to make the Frozen face off, just play us in the first round and you'll get right in. It was joking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I started laughing so hard. But
Yeah.
That's funny. What was your favorite team to play against in college hockey? You can, I mean, I figured what it might be, but
Um, I'll give you two. Obviously, I think North Dakota just because,
yeah.
and I really enjoyed playing Western and Western. There's that. I mean, it's not like a great rink at all. It's kind of crappy, but just like the environment of it and the student section is pretty good.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no,
it's
the
playing.
environment there is great. I haven't not had the opportunity to take a trip out there yet, but my dad has, and he said it was unreal. So,
Unreal.
um, favorite rink to play in besides, I'll say this: you can say the Ralph or the Baxter, but like, give me an option besides them two, if you,
All right. I'll think a little bit.
and maybe besides the Lawson too.
Okay. Ooh, taking three out of it. Trying to think of the out of conference teams that I played. Um, ugh, who did we play out of conference? I know we played in Alaska. That was in kind of a bad rink. It was no. I maybe I didn't mind UMD's. UMD's is nice.
Amsoil, yeah.
Amsoil,
Amsoil, yeah.
that was pretty good. Yeah, we haven't played in like a lot of like amazing barns out of conference wise. So
Yeah, for sure. Like I was trying to think of that too, because I mean, no, I don't remember the last time Omaha played Minnesota or Michigan or something like that, Ohio State or Wisconsin. But
We get to
do you
play
have?
BU.
Oh yeah, did you
yeah,
Oh yeah, you get to play at BU this year. That'll be sick.
I'll be,
Do you have any superstitions, team or personal?
no, I'm not really a superstitious guy. I mean, I kind of put my gear on the same way, but that's not out of like superstition. That's just out of habit, I'd
A
say. There's
routine. It's a
a
routine.
routine. Like if there's nothing like oh my like I have to do this, I have to do that. I just kind of go out and play.
This is a question I haven't really ever asked, but is there like a specific player like that's your arch enemy, like ever throughout hockey that was like one guy that stood out to you? You're like, oh my God, I hate this kid. I'm gonna rail this kid or I'm gonna light this kid up or anything like that?
Uh, I don't I don't think so. No, I'm not really when I'm out there. I don't really say a lot to
Yeah,
other players or anything. I'm kind of just mainly to myself or to my teammates. I can't say there's been one guy where I'm like, God, I hate this guy.
right. Is there a player in college, in your college career that stands out to you as the toughest player to play against that you've ever played against that you don't like playing against?
Ooh, trying to think of some teams I played. I didn't like what was it? Honestly, like I thought Clevin was kind of tough to play against. I mean, it was
He's
just
scary.
even he's just so big and like
Yeah.
got his stick is like 10 feet long and it's just he's always there and like not so much like I'd be like oh like I gotta go battle with Clevin. It's like oh my god now I gotta play like a brick wall or like guy with 10 feet around him. So you just have to like dump it. But yeah, he was definitely tough to play against.
For sure. Did you was there is there a toughest team to play against that stood out to you? That was ever like either tough or you just didn't like playing against in general?
Well, I think the toughest team it's just St. Cloud is really tough. For my I only played them once my freshman year, or once in St. Cloud, and that was my freshman year. And I think when you play St. Cloud in St. Cloud, like it's like a whole different game. Like there's a whole different team. So I saw
It's on a
that was
different
pretty
sheet too, so
cheat. So that they're pretty tough to play. And then I'd even say for us, CC for some reason CC gives Omaha such a tough time when you think they wouldn't. I mean, they got really good players and they had a good goalie this year. They just found a way to always kind of like beat us.
right. Like even then I'd add on, I forgot to add this on when we were talking about your moment at playing at UND where they beat them in overtime. Like Omaha was like the one team or is the one team that UND would always struggle against or would never sweep. Like we hardly or UND would hardly ever sweep UNO. Like especially at home. I remember the 1920 season we had an unreal home record and Omaha was like the only team to beat us at home and it was on senior night, I'm pretty sure. And then like the same thing happened the next year. But how do you, so this is a question about a rule. How do you feel? Because I'm sure you remember back when we were kids or even just a couple years ago. I mean, they changed it. Um, and you're a centerman, so I feel like this applies to you. How do you feel about the face-off rule in college hockey? Do you like the old rule better where you get a violation, you just get thrown out of the draw and then a winger comes in? Or do you like it better where you get a warning and then you get a minor penalty if you
Well, I
violated
don't
it?
think you should get a penalty. So I'm not really a fan of that. I don't mind just the old way if you, but
Right.
sometimes it's just way too picky these
Hmm.
days, and like
Yeah.
they're really looking for to give you a one or give you a two to get you out of there. I just feel like I'm fine with just the old way. If you mess up, just send the other guy in and take the draw.
I feel like it's faster that way too. I don't
Yeah,
understand why they'd want
yeah.
it
I
to.
think they changed it because they wanted it to be faster. Like there was, they thought the play would go by quicker.
Did you have you ever gotten a penalty for delay a game from that?
I
Or
have not.
face-off violation?
I've been out there for when some teammates have gotten it, but
What do
I've
they
never.
say? Like, how does that affect? What do the players usually say when they get something like that? Or what does the coach
Oh,
say even?
not some good words. I mean, there's more just kind of mad at the refs, I guess, because
Right.
just sometimes just you see things and you like jump on accident because maybe like you see like a ref like move or like the other player moves, and so you jump and you get the warning, and you're so sometimes it's just kind of like ticky. It's really ticky tacky.
Right. What are your thoughts on fighting in college hockey? Do you think it's good? Do you think it makes it, do you think it should be allowed or like, I mean, it was more, I feel like it was more, I don't know what the exact rule is. Obviously, they don't want you to fight, but I feel like it was more lenient back in the day. What do you think about fighting in college hockey?
Um, I mean, I guess I don't mind it. I mean, I'm not a big fighter myself, so I probably wouldn't be out there dropping the mitts every time. But I would allow it. Allow it. I think a lot of players like they come to college, they play juniors for the most part, and you can fight in juniors, and then in the pro leagues you can fight. So I don't know why now in college when there's like a step above juniors and like kind of like that playing field to jump to make the big jump
Right.
to like the next level, like why you can't. I get it. They don't want like fights, just break it out all the time. But sometimes, yeah, if
The
there's a
best way
bad,
to settle it. It's
yeah,
the best
best
way
way
to
to
settle it.
settle it. Sometimes is
Leave it
fighting.
on the ice. Right.
Yeah.
I think the more so the reason is because I mean, when you play for a program, you represent that program, but when you play for a school, it's a whole different thing. Like they're
Yeah.
organized and it's NCAA rules. It's just
Yep.
the NCAA rules are just a big mess. So, um, what it in your opinion, what sets as we close out here, what in your opinion, what sets good hockey players apart from great ones?
Um, I'd say work, just how hard you work, and then adapt. Like, are you allowed to adapt to certain situations? And like, if something's not going away, how do you adapt to it? Or like, you're on the ice and you think a play happens, but it doesn't happen. Now again, you have to adapt to make a different player. Even I
Right.
guess adversity too is kind of like the same word, but I think those are really important.
Awesome, Lincoln. You got the final one.
Yep. I know you're really obviously focused on the now, Cam, but in 5 years from now, where do you see your hockey career being at, or where do you want to be at?
Oh, I'm hoping to be part of the Islanders. Hopefully, I have like a year or two kind of under the belt in 5 years. I think, yeah, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
get like a year or two in the minors. Then hopefully, I work my way up and I can just be a good depth player in the NHL and always have like a spot every game.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much all the questions we have right now. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate your time and taking time out of your day to give us this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to have you on another time. I know we like to have. We're gonna probably have a checkup with DJ this Dylan James this summer, but maybe we'll have to have you on again after your first year at UND and see if anything changes for sure. But Lincoln, you got anything to say?
Nope. Thanks, Cam, and good luck this season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
awesome.
guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.